It is Thursday, the 17th day of November 2022. Good evening and welcome to News Watch on Hope TV, the station where you look and live. I'm Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. We're also streaming live on our social media platforms at Hope TV Kenya, that is on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Let's take a look at the day's stories. The Senate has approved the nomination of 9 candidates to the East Africa Legislative Assembly, among them Raila Odinga's daughter Winnie and Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka's son, Kennedy Kalonzo. Kennedy leads by 45 votes in the Senate for the Yala seat. A total of 9 candidates have been approved, comprising of 5 from the Kenya Kwanza coalition, who are given the nod by the parliamentary group meeting chaired by President William Ruto on Monday, namely Hassan Omar, Zipporah Kering, David Ole Sankok, Fred Muteti, and Falhada Deko. The Azimio coalition had 4 slots to represent Kenya at the regional parliament. The National Assembly also carried out a subsequent voting of the candidates.
Sankok David Ole, 35 votes. Sheikh Yasir Ali, 2 votes. Tomitom Lilian Chepto, 2 votes. To Ann Cherono, 1 vote. For the Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition Party, Ali Fatuma Gedi, 31 votes. Bosire Timothy Moseti, 17 votes. Dirie Abdullah Muhammad, 4 votes. Kalonzo Kennedy Musyoka, 45 votes. Kega James Mathenge Kanini, 29 votes. Kioni Jeremiah Ngayu, 1 vote. Mugali Justus Kizito, 9 votes. Mutua Winfred Sionindi, 0 votes. Nakusa Beatrice Askul, 1 vote. Ndeti Helen Mueni, 0 votes. Odinga Ingad Winnie, 35 votes. Shebal Sleiman Said, 38 votes.
Well, to education matters, Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu has reiterated the government's commitment to curbing irregularity in the upcoming national exams to ensure they are credible. Speaking at Kisumu Girls, Machogu called upon all those involved in the examination delivery process to uphold integrity while executing their roles and to remain vigilant so as to deter any form of examination malpractice. Here is Grace Ongoi with the details.
These examinations will be delivered from 108 containers across the region, and we have made adequate preparations for the exam. The supervisors, the invigilators, and the center managers have been deployed accordingly, and we are set. The rehearsals will be tomorrow for those doing KCSE, and the rehearsals for KIPSEA and KCPE will be done on the 25th of this month. We are prepared as a region, and I want to call upon all the stakeholders and those who will participate in the exercise to ensure that they put their best foot forward and ensure that we work as a team to ensure we deliver credible examinations during this season for this region.
We are going to ensure adequate security is deployed in all the examination centers. We have also made arrangements to the schools that are facing drought. We will deliver food to those institutions. The food has already arrived at all the primary schools that are adversely affected by the drought. So the examination, the candidates who will be writing the examinations will have food at the examination centers.
Now, Eastern Regional Commissioner Evans Achoki has assured all the candidates sitting for KCSE, KPSEA, and KCPE examinations of tight security during the period when the 3 national exams will be taking place. The commissioner said that adequate security personnel have been deployed in all the examination centers ahead of the commencement of the 3 national examinations. Achoki also disclosed that plans are in place to ensure that candidates in the drought-hit areas of the region are provided with free meals during the examination period. He at the same time warned those bent on compromising the integrity of the examinations through cheating that they will be firmly dealt with in accordance with the law.
These examinations will be delivered from 108 containers across the region, and we have made adequate preparations for the exam. The supervisors, the invigilators, and the center managers have been deployed accordingly, and we are set. The rehearsals will be tomorrow for those doing KCSE, and the rehearsals for KIPSEA and KCPE will be done on the 25th of this month. We are prepared as a region, and I want to call upon all the stakeholders and those who will participate in the exercise to ensure that they put their best foot forward and ensure that we work as a team to ensure we deliver credible examinations during this season for this region.
We are going to ensure adequate security is deployed in all the examination centers. We have also made arrangements to the schools that are facing drought. We will deliver food to those institutions. The food has already arrived at all the primary schools that are adversely affected by the drought. So the examination, the candidates who will be writing the examinations will have food at the examination centers.
Let's switch gear to a tragic story. In yet another terrible turn of events, 2 people have died after a 5-story building collapsed in Ruaka this morning. The building, which was under construction, collapsed over a neighboring residential home with 5 occupants. This comes just 2 days after a 7-story building collapsed in Kasarani, leaving 3 people dead and several injured. The National Construction Authority, NCA, yesterday revealed that the building was non-compliant, noting that 3 arrests have been made from the project and that there was no registered constructor on the site during inspection. While addressing the media over the incident, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja yesterday castigated developers for constructing buildings without proper standards. He said action will be taken against such developers and all involved in the loss of lives, adding that they will be charged in court. His sentiments have been echoed by Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi, who today said the county has now disbanded the Planning and Approval Board.
Mtu yoyote ambaye anaendeleza mjengo bila idhini na bila stakabadhi zinazofaa, sasa hatua itakuwa tofauti. Tukitoka hapa inabidi tuende tuketi ile board ambayo inasimamia haya mambo, kwanza hiyo tutaiweka kando pia, kwa vile tunaona kuna kasoro. Watu wenye tumepatia wajibu wa kufanya hii kazi pia tutawapiga msasa mara ya pili sasa.
First of all, the developer must be charged in court. In fact, Waziri, we will liaise with the police and the DCI to find that developer who knows he should not be building a building in this way. The standards of materials are wrong. He did not get any permit from the county. There was an enforcement notice, but because of impunity, decided to go on. He needs to be charged with murder, because that is murder. All of those who know they are going on with such construction, I want to put them on notice. Just pull down those buildings yourselves, or let us come for you. Because in search for profits, you're endangering lives. How much money can replace the life of those who have lost? How much money? You know, you're using the wrong materials, you're using the wrong, the wrong building standards, yet our country has standards of building.
Now, fake Dr. James Mugo Ndichu, alias Dr. Mugo Wawairimo, has today been convicted and found guilty of unlawfully administering drugs to patients at his clinic in 2015. Milimani Chief Magistrate Wendy Misheni however, acquitted Mugo over the offense of rape that brought the fake doctor to the public limelight. The quack doctor had already been sentenced for 11 years in jail in 2018 for operating unlicensed medical facilities and raping a patient, among other offenses. This is the second case that Mugo Wawairimo is facing and whose sentencing will now be done next week on Monday. Melissa Oduor with that report.
The case facing James Mugondichu alias Mugo Wawairimo comes to an end on Monday next week after 7 years of litigation. While adjudicating the matter today, the Milimani Chief Magistrate said Mugo, who was charged with 12 counts of illegally administering drugs to patients, yet he was not authorized to do so, was guilty of 10 of the counts. The court convicted him of operating an illegal medical facility and lawfully administering drugs to his patients, among other charges. The Chief Magistrate in her ruling pointed out that the prosecution had proven its case beyond reasonable doubt against Mugo. Mugo has, however, been acquitted on charges of raping a woman at his clinic. In his defense, Mugo had asked the magistrate to acquit him for lack of evidence. He argued that he never met the said woman who alleges that he raped her at his clinic. In a similar case in 2018, the quack doctor had been sentenced to 11 years in prison and ordered to pay a fine of 1.4 million shillings for unlawfully practicing medicine. He had been arraigned with a total of 6 charges, among them unlawfully carrying out the duties of a pharmacist without being registered with the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. He was also found guilty of carrying out the duties of a pharmacist in a building not registered by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board and operating a laboratory without the licensing by the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians Technologists Board. Wawairimo was also charged with operating an illegal clinic in Githurai 44, Kiambu County. According to the prosecutor, on the 1st of November 2014, at Prestige Healthcare Clinic in Nairobi, Mugo raped a woman after giving her 4 tablets of an unknown drug. The matter now comes to an end on Monday next week. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Melissa Oduor.
Much appreciated, Melissa, for that report. Now let's take a look at a story that happened in Eldoret earlier this day as Uasin Gishu County askaris engaged hawkers in running battles earlier today. A group of people stormed and looted a supermarket in Eldoret town, along with several other shops nearby. Police were called in and used tear gas to quell the skirmishes on the streets. During the chaos, groups of people were seen carrying away foodstuffs and electronics from Eldoret supermarket. The chaos erupted after county askaris seized goods from hawkers and other traders accused of operating in non-designated areas. The angry hawkers teamed up with street families and attacked the county askaris. The county administration, however, called in police reinforcement, but the chaos spilled over to most streets, forcing most traders to shut down their businesses. John Kamau, one of the leaders of the hawkers, accused the askaris of looting from the hawkers and sharing all seized items in the guise of controlling operations in the town. And on that unfortunate note, let us take a short break on News Watch tonight. We have plenty more after the break.
This week on Testify.
This life is enjoyable. It's at that time, it was enjoyable. It was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
But little did I know that my mom was crying.
Oh.
Yeah. My mom was crying every day. And I can tell you, for so many days I came home and I heard her praying and telling God, God, may you give me one. Give me one, because 4 of my brothers were out drinking.
Wow.
Only on Hope TV. Look. Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel like they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered. When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
A very warm welcome back. The Kenya Human Rights Commission has today hosted the Uganda Human Rights Accountability Conference at the historic Ufungamano House in Nairobi. The two-day conference aims at commemorating the killings, kidnappings, and torture of Ugandans between the 17th and 18th of November 2022. Our reporter Kawera Linda has more on this story.
Various political leaders have come together in Nairobi for the Uganda Human Rights Accountability Conference at Ufungamano House, Nairobi, Kenya. The conference aims at establishing a regional platform for mobilizing Ugandans and the international community to demand for accountability by the Ugandan government on the various human rights violations reported in the country. During the conference, the political leaders from different political parties in Uganda called for the freedom of the African country barely a month after celebrating 60 years of independence. Uganda's top activist Kizza Besigye, who was present at the event, spoke on the importance of holding leaders to account in efforts to regain their citizenship. He stated that as long as the use of guns reigns in the country, the struggle for power will never end.
It's freedom. We should fight to be free. Otherwise, we will not be different from prisoners that are fighting for who is going to be the one serving both the kosho and the porridge. Let us fight and free ourselves from this prison called Uganda.
Freedom and our rights is our primary responsibility of the people of Uganda.
On his part, youthful member of the Ugandan Parliament, Robert Kyangulanyi Sentamu, popularly known as Bobby Wine, called on his countrymen to come together, irrespective of their political party affiliations. Wine revealed that his own bodyguard has been missing for 13 days and condemned the police brutality, especially on the political class in Uganda.
It's important to look back and know that there's nothing as important to us as unity. Just our people seeing us together before we even do anything, that's motivation alone for them. Of course, that's just a starting point. So much we can do, but the first step is coming together.
So we have no time to lament, to sympathize with ourselves. Yes, we must use this platform to call on the international community to do its role.
Attending the event, NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua urged the East African countries to unite in efforts to realize total freedom. Karua urged Kenyans to be vocal on important national issues and reminded citizens that silence is the propagator of atrocities.
All our countries go through some sort of elections, whether sham or otherwise, and then they celebrate being elected.
Victims and families of the deceased said the conference is a sign of renewed hope for a better Uganda and called for change and a stable society. While sharing their experiences, they called for the respect of human rights, especially on vulnerable groups such as women and children.
We are suffering. That can I tell you, but at this time we are suffering. We have been tortured. We have been kept there for a long period of time, but for us, we don't know why we have been kept.
For Hope TV News Watch, I am Kawera Linda.
Thank you, Linda, for that report. The government has been urged to include men hooked into alcoholism and substance abuse as members of marginalized groups. Presenting her views during the ongoing public participation forums on the Financial Inclusion Fund, also known as the Hustlers Fund, Jane Kamwaga, the founder of Muranga Women Economic Network, has proposed a significant percentage of the 50 billion shilling kitty be allocated to women, youth, and persons living with disabilities.
It means the monies that end up with the borrower
Marginalized groups are now calling upon the government to allocate them a share of the Hustler Fund. The 50 billion Hustler Fund was one of the Kenya Kwanza's 2022 campaign promises that proposed to create a revolving fund to help boost the country's economy by availing affordable credit facilities to small-scale business operators. Jane Kamwanga, the founder of Murang'a Women Economic Network, has said there is need to recognize men struggling with alcoholism as a group that needs special attention. Kamwanga says if given the funds, those struggling with the disease will afford proper care and rehabilitation in order to ensure they also benefit from the money after recovery.
Some percentage of the fund should be set aside for those specific groups. That is between 30% and 40%. This should be also targeted women groups and chamas. When here we are also thinking of the marginalized men.
Cyrus Kiarie, a youth leader from Laikipia and founder of National Youth for Business in Kenya, proposed the fund's turnaround time be shortened to enable lenders access the money within the shortest time possible.
We have seen in the past whereby loan takes a bit longer, months before it's administered. Now the proposal to take it on the technology platform, I pray that it can be done fast, probably within a week or so that needs can also be sufficiently administered.
His sentiments were echoed by Boniface Gadhura from Kirinyaga County, who appealed to the board to consider setting aside a special allocation for fresh university graduates who in most cases find themselves with no reliable source of income once they are out of college.
Part of the budget of the Hustler Fund that is going to be allocated should be given to fresh graduate campus from private institutions, colleges, so that if those people have bankable proposals and bankable ideas, those guys are able to employ themselves, then employ part of their colleagues. So we will solve the unemployment crisis.
The funds are also considered a huge relief to small-scale traders such as vegetable vendors, boda operators and beauty parlor owners, majority of who cannot afford the punitive interest rates required by commercial lenders for one to qualify for a loan. For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga. Now, a report by the National Syndromic Disease Control Council, NSDCC, has revealed that HIV infections in the country have reduced by 66% from 101,448 in the year 2013 to 34,540 this year. HIV transmission from mother to child has also reduced from 13.9% in 2013 to 9% this year. In Uasin Gishu County, at least 4 new HIV infections cases have been reported among adolescents aged between 10 to 19 years this year. In statistics revealed today during a sensitization of community gatekeepers and opinion leaders on elimination of new HIV infections, adolescent pregnancies, and sexual gender-based violence in Eldoret, it was also established that the new HIV infection among adolescents in the county has increased by 16% from 158 in 2015 to 184 this year. The same period has seen new HIV infection among young adults aged between 15 to 24 increase by 40%. This is despite a 49% reduction of HIV-related deaths among adolescents being reported in the county between the year 2015 and 2022.
Wache unyane. Jamii yangu ya Usingisho kutoka leo, wacha tuwache unyane. Wacha tufanye mipango yetu kulingana na itikadi na mpangilio ile ambayo inastahili.
Wale walipata, wengine tukawapoteza, mpaka wa leo tumepoteza karibu watu 2 million tangu ugonjwa, kuzidi 2 million tangu ugonjwa ifike hapa. Sana sana kwa jamii, ukikaa sana lazima ukumbuke ndugu, rafiki ulipoteza. Lakini kwa siku hizi tunasikia tu fulani ameenda. Na sana sana wanaume. Jana tulikuwa tunaangalia data na tunaona ya kwamba tunapoteza wanaume wengi wale wanakuwa wale tunaita heads of families, kutoka sana sana miaka 44 kwenda miaka 55. Tukiangalia kwa
janga ambalo limetambulika katika mfumo wa triple threats, ambapo tuko na new HIV infection. HIV new infection kwa wale wote ambao wameishi, na nikiangalia vile mlivyo, jinsi HIV ilivyoanza, ilikuwa ni tisho kubwa kabisa, na ilikuwa ni janga na jambo la kuogofya. Saa hii karibu tufikie tuseme kwamba hiyo ni kama malaria tu.
Moving on, over 60 women living with fistula are expected to benefit from free surgeries and medical advice following a week-long medical camp at Kenyatta National Hospital, KNH, with at least 133 women having been screened. M-Pesa Foundation and Flying Doctors Society of Africa have partnered to offer the week-long fistula camp at a cost of 5,177,150 shillings. The partnership was officially launched last year in Webuye County Hospital and has so far provided fistula treatment and surgery to over 261 women in Bungoma, Kilifi, Nyeri, Kajiado and Tharaka Nithi counties. This as the World Health Organization estimates that more than 2 million women live with fistula worldwide. It is estimated that there are 3,000 new fistula cases in Kenya each year, and only 7.5% of them can access medical care. This means that more than 2,700 women with fistula are unable to get the necessary medical attention every year.
Our heart is really, our passion is really about changing lives and giving women a dignified life. We started working on the fistula intervention about 20 years ago, and our passion is making sure that women have access to medical services of which they cannot be able to afford. So we fundraise for these surgeries, and in this case, we've been sponsored by the M-Pesa Foundation to be able to provide this support. And then now we come together with a hospital like Kenyatta National Hospital, who of course have the facilities and the doctors, and we're then able to transform lives. So a lot of these women don't actually know that they have fistula. We promote the camps through various media, on social media, as well as mainstream media.
Fistula operation is normally done to women who suffer continence and pass urine in a way that they're not able to control. Now, this really is an embarrassing situation for a woman to be in. So the fistula operation camp is an effort to be able to correct that abnormality. And when that is corrected, it restores dignity to women.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel that they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at business. The government will from Friday begin to import up to 10 million bags of maize to be supplied as relief food to drought-stricken areas in the country. Trade, Investment and Industry Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria says the maize imports are part of government's efforts to address the hunger issues facing the country due to the prolonged drought until the country attains food security. He was speaking during the 10th Annual SMEs Conference and Expo at Strathmore University. Kuria further revealed plans to open trade offices outside the country in a bid to broaden the export market for small businesses and ease exportation for local traders. He further challenged his cooperatives and micro and small enterprise counterpart Simon Chelugui to come up with easier ways to recognize small businesses so that the government can invest in them through various projects as they form the pillar of the economy. Also speaking at the event, real estate company Optiven CEO George Weshiri urged the government to give tax relief incentives to business startups to enable local businesses grow and also tackle the high rate of unemployed youth. On the Kenya Tourism Board, KTB, in consultation with the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage, has appointed John Chirchir as its acting Chief Executive Officer. Chirchir replaces the outgoing CEO, Dr. Betty Radia, who has completed serving her full term of 6 years at the helm of the marketing agency. Announcing the changes, KTB chairperson Joanne Mwangi Yelbert termed Radia's tenure a successful one, having seen through a strong destination brand with global recognition. Dr. Radia, who has served for a 2-year term of 6 years since the year 2016, lauded the industry for resilience, innovative and proactive measures to minimize the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that has threatened to erode gains in the tourism business. Meanwhile, Chirchir, who has been serving as the digital marketing manager, has extensive knowledge on destination marketing spanning for over 20 years and has championed marketing programs in Kenya's tourist key source markets of Europe, emerging Africa, and the US. Now, on to sports. Coca-Cola Kenya has today flagged off 4 winners flying to Qatar to attend and experience the live matches in a bid to enhance customer experience in this year's World Cup. Speaking at the event, the marketing director, East and Central Africa franchise at the Coca-Cola company, Isabel Karaoke, stated that Coca-Cola shares in the passion their consumers have for football, which is one of the reasons they have partnered with the FIFA World Cup since 1974. Thousands of football fans across the country will be able to watch every adrenaline-pumping pass and every match-winning goal of the World Cup at select regional Coca-Cola fan zones in Nairobi, Nyanza, Central, Coast, and Rift Valley regions, thus bringing football fans together.
Na ndio nicheze huko hii game ya tafuta opportunity ya kwenda coach game Qatar. Ya nika try na nikafanikiwa. Na nashukuru Mungu. Okay, kulikuwa na hizi posters zimewekwa kwa shops. Ukibuy soda ya 1 liter ama 2 liters kuna opportunity ya grand prize ya kwenda coach game Qatar, na kuna instant prizes kama credo, cash. So mimi nikajaribu tu, then by good luck nikafanikiwa kupata hiyo ticket. Okay, after take part kwa hiyo game, mara ya kwanza sikuamini sababu kuna watu wanamchezo na watu, but vile niliendelea kuongeleshwa na wale maofficials wa Coke, kuulizia details, mali nimetoka, kutaka kunimeet, ili niwape experience yangu, ndio time niliamini kumbe ilikuwa real.
And Football Kenya Federation has postponed 2 Premier League fixtures involving Mathare United and Vihiga Bullets in response to stay orders by the Sports Disputes Tribunal. The tribunal ordered the FKF to rescind its decision to nullify all promotions and relegations from last season following a petition by AP Bomet and Corner Rangers. The matches affected are Posta Rangers FC versus Mathare United and Vihiga Bullets versus Wazito FC. FKF resolved following a meeting with its National Executive Committee that it would void the 2021-2022 football season and in effect nullifying all relegations and promotions. The FKFPL is set to kick off this weekend while NSL is scheduled for the 26th of November. And that wraps up Newswatch tonight. On behalf of everyone that has made this bulletin a success, thank you for watching. We wish you a very good night. See you next time.